Welcome to the Referendum in 5. I am your host, Lexanne Fletcher. The Referendum in 5 is a weekday program geared at informing the general public on the 7 proposed amendment bills for the upcoming referendum, which will be held on October 27th, 2016. Get involved and be part of the process. Hello once again, I'm Lexanne Fletcher and welcome to Referendum in 5. Today we take a closer look at the Elections and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill. And joining me today to expound on that bill is Mr. Alex Phillip, Supervisor of Elections. Mr. Phillip, how are you this morning, sir?
Good morning, Lexanne, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here, sir. When it comes to the bill, Mr. Phillip, firstly, exaggerate a little bit on the bill now.
Okay, I'm so happy to do that. Let me just say that the Constitution provides for the Supervisor of Elections under Section 31, 1 and 2. It says very clearly that there shall be a Supervisor of Election whose duty it shall be to exercise general supervision over the registration of voters in elections of members of the House of Representatives and over the conduct of elections. The functions of the Supervisor of Elections shall be exercised by the person holding or acting in such public office as may for the time being designated in that behalf by the Governor General acting in her or his own deliberate judgment. Subsection 6 under Section 35 states, in the exercise of his function, that the Supervisor of Election shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority.
Now, for persons who, I'd like to put it in the term of the ordinary man, what would you say are the benefits to the ordinary man?
Okay, the benefit to the ordinary man is that this is enshrined in the Constitution, and the process which I supervise really and truly is a very important process. And I think being in the Constitution, however, one person holding that role, moving forward, other countries would have realized that some issues would have arisen and it's not very good. So they are saying that other persons or a group of persons would be better to manage that electoral process. Hence the proposal for an election management body. I would also like to mention here the role of the Constituency Boundaries Commission. Under Section 55(1), the Constitution states that there shall be a Constituency Boundaries Commission for Grenada, which shall consist of the Speaker as the chairman, 2 members appointed by the Governor General acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, and 2 members appointed by the Governor General acting in accordance with the Leader of the Opposition. I would just like to further state that since independence, we had 3 such committees formed in 1989 under the leadership of Sir Paul Schoon, Governor General, and chaired by Sir Hudson Scipio, with members like Mr. Henry Ogilvie, Mrs. Enid Rosalind Charles, Sir Reginald Palmer, and Mr. Reynold Louis Francis Benjamin. First commission was set up. They would have submitted a report and made certain recommendations which were not followed. Also in 1991, Sir Paul Schoon again, and this time under the chairmanship of Mr. Marcel Peters, with Sir Reginald Palmer, Mr. Selwyn Mitchell, Mr. Ronald McSween, and Mr. Reynold Louis Francis Benjamin, was also selected to be a part of a Constituencies and Boundaries Commission. However, that report, they agreed that the boundaries should have remained how they were. In 1997, Dr. John Watts also activated a committee with Chair Sir Curtis Strawn, Mr. Sylvester Sandy, Mrs. Clarice Charles, Mr. Jerome Joseph, and Mr. Norton Nwell. And lastly, our present Governor General recently would have set up a committee led by Mr. Michael Pierre, and we have Sir Lawrence Joseph, Mr. Gilbert Marcel, Ms. Claudette Joseph, and Mr. Kenny Lalsine. They have not yet submitted a report. So we think that with the present arrangement, the election management body would be tasked with that responsibility. Instead of having two groups, the supervisor of election and a separate constituency and boundaries commission, the election management body would have the responsibility for overlooking those two functions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir, for your clear and precise explanation of this bill. I want to wish you all the best, and thank you again for joining me. This has been another episode of Referendum in 5. Today I had the honor of chatting with the Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Alex Phillip, and we were discussing the Elections and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill. Certainly hope you are a little bit more clear now on this specific bill, and we're so happy that you tuned in today. If you need more information regarding all the various bills as we get closer to constitution reform, you can visit the website www.grenadaconstitutionreform.com or visit the Facebook page under the same name, Grenada Constitution Reform. Tune in next time. I am Lexanne Fletcher.